do that. Well, the vertices or whatever are a list of floats. I wonder if gRPC has a map type. I don't think it does. I look at gRPC types, not TypeScript. Oh, it does have maps. Protocol buffers provides a handy shortcut syntax map key type value type. Oh, that's pretty convenient. So then I should be able to pass the attributes as a map. Although the fields cannot be repeated. Does that mean the value can't be repeated? Because that would actually be a problem. A map of projects where each project message is associated with a string key. Yeah, I think the fields... Oh, I think it's saying you can't have like a repeated, like something with multiple maps. Is that what it means? I'm starting to think I just shouldn't do this. I think all the attributes have the same name, so I don't think I need necessarily to have a map with all of them. So I'm just going to print out geometry.attributes. Actually, I'll do that in the browser. So here, geometry.attributes. It is a map, I guess. But I think these names are standardized, like normal position UV. Is this a buffer geometry? Okay, what I'm gonna do, let me just write up something. Write up a service that can return buffer geometry attributes. And I should actually check. Maybe it'll tell me if these are the only attributes. Guess not. Yeah, I guess not. Oh well. So I have a message. Geometry data? Or just geometry? Can I get a repeated float? This will be position. And that's the only thing I want for now. And I'll call this geometry service. Okay. So I do get geometry. This will take a geometry request. I'll say geometry response. I'll just call this geometry. Geometry request, geometry response. This will be the geometry response. The geometry request will be empty. Okay, so now I should be set to just return a bunch of positions. I will need those indices. Was it called just index or what? It was called index. Okay. Okay, okay. So from there, let me serve up this one, geometry service, instead of the test service. So I'll call this geometry service. Get server So, oh wait. Test service is the name of the package. Wait, did I mess this up? So test service equals this thing dot test service. Then what I want is test service dot geometry service. I guess dot service. Then the geometry function will be a geometry function I write here. For now, let me just do callback. Null. Can I just give back nothing? Const geometry goes... Oh. Do I want to call this geometry? Maybe we could call it 3 geometry or something. Whatever. For now, I'll just call this geo. And the other thing, mat. Okay, so I think that's running. I'll have to regenerate those protos. Okay. Okay, so now I have the new protos. I want geometry service stub. I'll do stub.geometry. And I'll pass in a geometry request. If I can do that. It is called a geometry request. I guess I'll try doing that. Okay. Geometry service stub. Oh. No, that's not it. Well, why not? Looks like the geometry stuff isn't there. Did that get generated? I'm gonna look at the service PB2. This. Yeah, this looks like it doesn't have any of the geometry stuff. Do I have to remove them or something? Let me see what that script does. It doesn't remove them. Oh, but I didn't copy over the proto file. I have to copy from 3 server service.proto. I have to copy that to there. Now I can run the script. Run the script. And now I think I should be able to use this. Let's see. Okay, it worked. So what I want to do now is pass the geometry data from JavaScript. So to start, I'll have position here. I'll create this geometry within the function. This will just be geo.geometry attributes.position dot array, and I'll see if that works, because I kind of think it won't. We'll have to rerun it. Okay, rerun that. Rerun this. Something wrong. Error received from peer. Array expected. I guess attributes position array isn't an array. If I look at this temp1 attributes positions position dot array. It's a float 32 array, which I guess isn't the same as a JavaScript array. A JavaScript array. Attributes position dot array. Okay, let's just see if there's something straightforward. Array to yeah. Array.from, I guess. Okay. So shut that down, run it again, try this. Okay, and that's perfect. Now the position data is being copied from JavaScript, and I can read it in Python. Now that isn't enough data. I'll need the index data too. So I do index equals, and here if I do temp1.index dot array, this is typed as well. Should be geo.index.array. Okay, so I'll rerun that. Rerun the Python. Great, so now I'm getting the position data and the index data. So now I want to try to create the mesh. Creating the mesh from this data should be pretty straightforward, I think. Let me see if it's possible to pass this data in as a single array. Like this. Okay, so now I'll just pass this in like this. It isn't 24 anymore. It's 72, I guess. And see if I can... Okay, I guess I can do that. LOL. Okay, so you can do that. What I'm gonna do here... I wish I could... Maybe I can use NumPy. Or, PDB. I'm gonna place this with a weight. Break here with PDB, run this again. And see what I can print about response. So response dot position, response dot index. Okay, both of those are perfect. And do response.position len of that. So this would be len. Actually, attributes. Yeah, len response.position. I will just call this invert right now. This, I'm just going to put in response.position, I think. I'm going to see if that much still works. Run this again. And it did, which is great. I don't think I need to print this anymore. Now I'm going to do interactive embed, do this. And this will be response.index. Okay, so now I'm reading this data from JavaScript. The shader isn't that related. Then I make this attribute array. And I'm passing the position in directly to those attributes. Okay. I wonder if there's a way to streamline this anymore. It's probably possible to like not initialize this to 0 first. Like if attributes was an array and it had this data type, I don't know. I can come up with how to do that later. Okay, but this is still a box. That's perfect. The real moment of truth is stop passing a box and pass a sphere. Okay, so I'm going to pass a sphere from JavaScript. Run this again. Perfect. I got the sphere data, even though I never implemented it, because I copied that from JavaScript. So this should mean that if I up the resolution of the sphere, if I make it larger, I do 3030 here, for example. So this should be higher resolution. And it is much higher resolution. Somewhat unfortunately, you can't really tell this is a sphere, because it just looks like a circle. I guess it's kind of rotating in a way you wouldn't expect a circle to. But this should mean that if I do a more complicated geometry, I'm going to do a cone geometry. Radius, height. Wait, radius, height, radial segments, height segments. Whatever, I'll just copy these. 5, 20, 32. I'll rerun that. And that is way too tall. Let's bring this down to 2. Why is it so tall? I guess it worked. One of these numbers, radius, then the height. Oh. Okay, radius 2, height 2. And these next two I just want to be as high as I can, basically. Cool. It does look kind of a little weird, but that works. Okay, so there are a few things I could try to do now. I could work on getting three.js materials. I could work on passing the materials over as well, so that this won't just look like this. Or I could polish up the server so that it wasn't so... Basically so that I didn't have to rerun the server every time that I want a different shape. I guess I only have about 10 minutes. I'll try to add some data to this. That could be fun. So for the geometry request, let me add in a string, which will be the like name of the geometry. There's sort of a question of how I should pass the parameters. Because this won't necessarily always take just various numbers. I guess for all of these, they are just passing numbers. Float, float, integer. This takes a Boolean. So it may not be possible to have a single RPC which can call all of these. I'm just gonna try to bring over an octahedron geometry just because I can. Just because I have the ability to do that. It didn't work. What'd I do? Do I have to pass anything to it? Radius defaults to 1, default. Wait, why would that not work? It was working as a cone, wasn't it? Yeah. Something about the octahedron geometry. It's just taking the position of the index. Does this not have an index? I'll look at this in the browser. Okay, if I look at this, it doesn't have indices. So I should, okay, so I should only pass that if index is not null. Geo.index not equal to null. This, otherwise, just this. I think it's possible. Hold on. Let resp. I think there's a difference between something being set to an empty thing and not being set at all. Like you can distinguish between the two. So let me do this. Then I'll say if this isn't null, then resp dot index. Okay, so now this can just give back the response. So I still don't expect this to work with the octahedron, but I should be able to tell somehow. To tell that there aren't any indices. Oh, it just worked. Wasn't expecting that. Response.index. I guess you do numpy.array of null. It'll just do that. Weird. Okay. But I guess I managed to get that to work. Okay. Back to the question of how to pass the parameters. I actually think they might have to be different RPCs. I think that's the only way to do it robustly. Unfortunately. Which means I'd have to go in here. And it won't be geometry request. I can leave that how it is, but I'm gonna need an RPC. Like sphere. Actually, what would be the most convenient name from Python's point of view? The most convenient name would probably be something like 3-sphere or 3-box geometry. Actually, I could just call it whatever geometry. I think that'd be pretty convenient, a pretty intuitive way to do it from Python's end. So let me call this, okay, I have a box geometry request and a box geometry response. Then let me just write these out. And the box geometry has positions, normals, UVs, and indices. So it'll be repeated float, position, normal. Actually, I should just look at this. If I bring this up in the browser, oh, yeah, look at this in the browser. Position, normal, UV, all floats. And they don't have repeated int32 index. For the request, I guess I'll just pass in all those parameters. Let's see, width, height, depth, width segments, height segments, depth segments. Okay. And it's float, float,